Hello, I hope your day is going well so far. If we have not yet had a chance to meet, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Father Philip Farrell, and as of the 1st of July, Bishop Zubik has invited me to be the administrator of our parish grouping. That's St. Ferdinand Parish, St. Gregory Parish, and Holy Redeemer Parish. And he's asked me to carry on the good work that Father Gallagher has already begun, a work of establishing family, a work of bringing together community of faith. And for me, family is very important because I come from a strong Italian family background. Now, you may be saying, Farrell, that's not Italian at all, that's Irish. Well, I think like most of people who have heard stories, we all know the stories of the folks whose names have been changed whenever they came from the old country to here. And so when my grandparents came to this country, as far as I can tell anyway, the name was Faraldo, very Italian. And so with that name also came a style of life, and it was a very vibrant style of family. I remember as a kid, our parents would get together and they'd laugh and they'd eat and they just love each other. And to me, that has always been a very important part of family life then, of living life as a family. And so for me then, I've always treasured then the opportunity to have that experience of family. And I think the Lord today in the readings is trying to help us see the value of living as family. Because in that first reading from the prophet Hosea, the Lord speaks of his desire to love his people so much as even holding us like little children and rubbing our cheeks together. And that's a marvelous image. I love that. And, think of it, when grandparents pick up their newly born grandchildren, oh, it's just loving them to death. And that's the way the good Lord loves us. Or in the responsorial psalm, the Lord gives us those words as, Lord, let us see your face and we shall be saved. We desire so much to see the Lord, to talk to the Lord, to be at one with the Lord. That's how important our faith is. And even in the gospel today, when Jesus commissions his disciples to go out there and preach the good news, he says to them, when you go into a town, stay in somebody's house. Staying in somebody's house, being welcomed into their home, to being fed around their table. When someone asks us to do something like that, they are inviting us to be family. They're inviting us to be a part of their lives. For many years, I've told newly appointed pastors that I only ask two things of them. First off, they smile to people. But second off, that they eat people's food. Because people show how much they love us whenever they feed us, whenever they give us a care package, whatever it might be. And so, I think the Lord wants us to recognize and to appreciate what truly it means to be a community of faith. And, we live in a tough time when family and community is really struggling because of the coronavirus. There are many stories I've heard of people who can't see family members, who have to be at a distance from them, socially distanced, be around family with a mask and stay 6 foot apart. That's hard. It's very difficult. And unfortunately, some folks have had to watch as their ill parents have been in nursing homes and they've only been able to have window visits or maybe visit them on Facebook or FaceTime or Skype or whatever. Or the even sadder story of folks who can't even get into a hospital at times to watch as their parents or other family members are passing on to God because we can't afford to have too many people in the hospital for fear of passing on the illness. Those are struggles. Those are difficulties that we all face, and yet the Lord wants us to be family. And as we hopefully can move beyond this time of pandemic, God willing, it will not be much longer. As we move beyond this, my fear is that we will become used to separation. The norm will be something of where we distance ourselves from other people, where we wear a mask, maybe not physically masked, but definitely at times psychologically masked, where we aren't willing to be open to each other. And yet that's so important for us. It's so necessary for us to live our faith that way. At the same time, though, I've heard stories, wonderful stories, of people who during this time have been willing to call people, send an email, send a note, go grocery shopping for people. Just stop in and maybe maintain that distance, but spend time with people who are locked in homes, who can't get out or for fear of getting out. But another marvelous story is when we hear of all the folks who are just desiring to come back to church, desiring to be with others, and desiring to see the face of the Lord in the Eucharist. You know, in our parishes, the phones are ringing off the hook whenever we have those times when folks can sign up for reservations. And it's always sad to have to tell people, well, we can't fit you into this Mass, maybe we can fit you in another Mass. But people want that. People yearn for that community. People yearn for that family. People yearn for the face of Jesus in the Eucharist. As we continue then, during this time of pandemic, but also during this time of life, let's continue to recognize the value, the importance of faith, the importance of family, because we are the body of Christ. We are that church that Jesus Christ himself has established so that we can be one in his name and in his love. God bless.